Welcome back to another episode of Mars Day with Mark Fire Family. It's your host with the most, Mr. Meyer with the fire, here to share ideas and take the collective vibration higher. And this is your weekly astrology podcast, Tuesday to Tuesday. We're going to cover the astrology of the week, starting with August 27th, and we're going to end with September 3rd. And this is a pretty exciting week. I'm excited to share the good news with you guys. If you enjoy this video at any point, please do consider leaving a like. Got a few highlights, quite a few events and some action this week. So let's break it down. It's an exciting Virgo week. We've got a new moon this week. Mercury is stationing direct. The retrograde is fucking over. Venus switches signs. She's also got some crazy aspects at this present moment. Mars is square to Neptune like all week, and Uranus goes retrograde, and Pluto switches signs. So let's take it step by step, like bit by bit. Let's have a walkthrough through the solar system because there's a lot to say. We're gonna hit the highlights and have a good time. So check out this chart, guys. Look at the moment we started with Pluto on the ascendant. This is gonna be a powerful video. So without further ado, shout out the Virgos. Hey, if you are a Virgo, I love you so much, and you're a special person, and life kind of revolves around you right now. So shout out to the Virgos, man. Show some love to the Virgo people. Straight up, man, because these people are really the best. And I know that's really not the most Libra thing to say to give that superlative out, but hey, something about Virgo is prolific, discriminating, like the standards that these people hold themselves to. It's really a beautiful thing. Virgos are really great at growing and living their life to the fullest. So when the sun is concerned, let me show you guys. We're going to have the sun starting at 5 degrees on this Tuesday, and then next Tuesday on the 3rd, it'll be at 11 degrees. So we get about 7 degrees of movement this week with the sun. And that's pretty cool. It's pretty exciting. So you got to just know that the sun gives us all life and energy. And if we didn't have the sun, we'd all fucking die. So similarly, the sun lights up your sky. And this will just be the energy of life, how we interact with the world, how we express ourselves. This is the season, the theme for the next, let me do the math, 25 days. We got the Virgo sun. And this is late summer for a lot of us. If you're in the southern hemisphere, it's late winter, but we're in this transitional stage, this seasonal archetype. And Virgo is the harvest. So there's a lot to say about work and putting in that time and focusing and getting it in and taking a systematic, procedural approach towards your life and your goals, really taking time to look at the facts and the analytics and the data. Like we took the look at the data, and the conclusion was, I'm lazy as fuck, got to put the work in, That's what Virgo really is about, through your logical analysis of your life. How can you improve yourself? How can you better yourself? Virgo is really one of the most discriminating signs. And I wanted to use my annotation tools today, guys. So I don't know what the fuck. It's probably Mercury retrograde, really, but they're not popping up. So, we just have to do it live. We got to talk with our hands. It's worth noting that Virgo is the 6th sign of the zodiac. All right. And there's only 12 signs in the belt. So ultimately, Virgo is the last sign in the bottom hemisphere. And this whole hemisphere talks about self as opposed to the other, which would be the upper hemisphere. So Virgo, number 6, really is about refining, changing, optimizing yourself. Okay. So this season, my spirit says to y'all, it's worth knowing, where the fuck am I going? Truly, it doesn't matter how hard you work or how focused you are or how fast you go if you haven't decided where you want to go, man. If you haven't picked a target, haven't really set intentions, okay? So I think the universe right now is really asking us, can we be specific? And if we get more detail oriented and factual, maybe we can move forward a little bit faster. Okay. So it's important to want to grow in life because change is constant. The world is in a eternal state of flux, right? So you got to get with the program, guys. And I'm gonna take 2 shots of that medicine because I don't want to sound like I'm preaching at the world, because this is a message for me just as much as y'all, truly. And I digress, guys. Let me know in the comments if you're going through crazy transits. The sun is square my Pluto right now, like to the degree at 5 degrees. So I'm feeling inspired. I'm feeling really charged up, guys, and really empowered. But I will just say that Sun square Pluto. I don't want to make this about me too much, but there's like some darkness that we're working through. My Pluto Sagittarius gang. You'll see what I'm saying if your Pluto's later than mine, but either way that goes. I just want to say this is all about perfection on some level, to see if we can increase our standards and way of living and do better. Better is the key word, guys. Don't let perfect be the enemy of good, but do strive to improve ourselves. Okay. And it's not what we do, it's how we do it. So positive reinforcement can go a long way with Virgo, because the way that this sun right now gives us energy and awareness of the world, it's very easy to see what's wrong or what problems we have or what things that we want to solve. And with the wrong picture of ourselves or beliefs about life, the details will explode in front of our sight, making us feel like things could be worse than they really are, or maybe that we've been beaten before we even started. So it's really not good to have a negativity bias right now, guys. It's good to strive to be better and see the world in a positive light, and then just focus on consistency. Consistency, guys, because your real glory, it won't come from, bits and spurts of theatrics and monumental achievements. It's that day in and day out work. The only way you're going to become anybody you want to be is your habits. So the question is, like, can we change our foundation to make our lifestyle more conducive with our goals? That's really the question. So I leave that up to you to ponder about and decide about. Happy Virgo season. Enjoy it, guys. So as far as the moon goes this week, just know that it's a waning moon week, and then we get to the new moon, and that's exciting. So let's go day by day, actually. The new moon is going to be on Monday, like late Monday night. But here we start today with the moon at 25 Gemini, right on top of Mars. And we'll just go day by day. You see Wednesday, moon in Cancer. Thursday, moon in Cancer. Friday, we'll get into the Leo moon. A little bit of Cancer, a little bit of Leo. Saturday is a Leo moon. Sunday, for the most part, is a Leo moon. And then on Monday, we have that new moon in the sign of Virgo. And this is the new moon chart for anybody interested in looking at it. And, there is a lot to say about this. I would just say that the most important thing to note is that the lunar cycle has started again. This is an excellent time for setting new goals and, you know, writing out the standards that you wish to achieve and where you want to be. And this could heavily center around the work we do, the skills that we have, the service we provide. It's worth looking into your chart, figuring out which house you have Virgo in, to see which part of your life really is going to have, new energy coming into it as well. So that's really cool. And I will just say that off the rip, looking at this new moon, I see that the sun and the moon are opposite to Saturn. And that just says that this new moon is really going to be about personal growth and, you know, success. It revolves around our career, our status, our business, and that's cool. If you want to take that a little more esoteric as opposed to physical, I would just say that this new moon really is going to set in motion a cycle where we are going to break out of a lot of our self-imposed barriers and imprisonment. We're going to really be liberated through, pardon me, the hard work, or we could tuck our tail and walk in fear, so it's up to us how we want to maneuver in this world, really. So I would just encourage everybody, stay positive as much as possible this week, especially because some of these planets have been kind of choppy and chunky, and I don't know if I said this clearly enough or in the last video, but I'm gonna restate it just in case, and in case you didn't watch the video, or just for a refresher, guys. Some of these planets have been kind of choppy for real. So I think this new moon is going to be a breath of fresh air, and it's going to give us somewhat of a boost to be able to really push forward with more positive energy. So we're going to get into these planets in just a second, because that's really why we're here. just to put that solar system in perspective. And, we get a new moon every month, guys, which doesn't make it not magical, but it's just, it's one of the more common themes on this podcast because every week, we're going to have some form of lunation, whether it's full, new, or a quarter, you know? So good stuff, guys. Get excited because really, I think the theme of this week with the new moon being on Monday is really like, in what ways can we simplify our lives and can we remove things from our routine that don't really serve? Or maybe we can add certain habits into the mix that would really fulfill ourselves a lot more, man. For instance, for example, I could just tell you guys that like, we all have schedules and things to do within our day. And I found that like, just by changing mine a little bit, going outside the moment I wake up and, touching grass and drinking water, this is really great for me to change the rest of my day. You know, habits, habits, habits. How do you go to sleep? How do you wake up? How do you eat? How do you spend your time? What's that doing for you, basically? Can you simplify? Can you consolidate? So, mm, what else to say about this one? The afflicted ass Mercury. So we're looking for breakthroughs at this point. And just listen to your mind, guys, because downloads, they could come sporadically this week. And I will say probably more so even the next week. This is going to be a theme. Having Mercury square Uranus. Be on the lookout for, brief flashes of insight or, inspired creativity or breaking out of the box mentally. That's really one of the themes. So let's talk about this Mercury. Let's get into these other planets now. Mercury, that's the first planet after the sun. If you know, you know, but I will just say that Mercury governs communication and travel. So technology is one thing that really falls, underneath that umbrella, so to speak. And Mercury is the powers of perception and it's how the intellect works. So you'll see this is how we maneuver around our environment, how we interact with things, and even how we speak. So Mercury retrograde, I'm usually not as affected by this. I will say, because I was born with Mercury retro in my chart. And this one kind of whooped my ass, y'all. I'm gonna be honest, just based on the communication issues and travel issues, internet issues, power issues, just technology being weird as hell. But we made it through, guys. We did it. We did it. So today, Mercury is stationed direct. So it's not really moving. But, as we go through this week, guys, Mercury is going to be picking up speed. And really, when I say picking up speed, that's what I mean is like, imagine if you were doing, I think they call these suicide sprints. That's kind of crude, but it's probably a better word for it, really. But there's this sprint you do in gym where you like run to one side of the gym and then you immediately switch sides and run to the other one. And then you just go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But the idea, I guess, really is to switch your direction as fast as possible and keep moving and try to minimize how much time you're still. So it's like if Mercury just did that sprint to the end, Mercury's ankles are like all twisted right now because it's about to go back in the other direction. So Mercury this week is like kind of hitting the end, guys, and pushing back forward, like taking that first little step back into the sprint. So Mercury is going to be moving pretty slow as far as how this week goes, but give it another week and we will start seeing Mercury pick up speed a little bit more, okay? But as far as this week, really not much going on with Mercury because we're really just breaking out of this retrograde. So that also says that we're in the post retrograde shadow, so we may still have a few hiccups in our communication and travel. So it's just important to go slow and focus on, correctness and focus, truly. How meta, we want to focus on focus, and that can really be a refining act, okay? But also, in addition to this, with Mercury being in the sign of Leo, this really does give us the opportunity to connect with ourselves and refine our own personal communication, guys. So it's worth slowing down when you speak, speaking with more firmness, conviction, and warmth. Say it with your fucking chest, man. Say it with love. Speak up. And Let yourself be heard. I really want to encourage whoever's listening to this to find their voice when Mercury's in Leo, because this is one of your most powerful tools. And you'll be able to realize that this tool, the way that you communicate and the way that you think, it's an act of personal self-expression. So remembering who you are, recognizing that your life literally revolves around your identity will change the way that you completely act in this world, the way that you maneuver. In other words, if you decide who you want to be, guys, your conscious, your impulses, they really are going to follow suit, and your actions will naturally be, governed by your thoughts. You think, therefore you are. So get excited, guys. We got a good Mercury Leo week, and it's just really important to, center yourself within your mind. Make sure that you have a firm connection to who you are, and that you recognize that you are the painter. You are the one who writes the script or directs the play. So fuck what anybody else has to say. Respectfully, I'm trying to give a principle, but I also will just say that, while you are the main character, the star of the show, you have to make sure that you have, some flexibility within your mind as well, because not only can you take it from a Leo Mercury person like myself, guys, this is my placement, along with a lot of other people, but by being too inflexible or resistant to change, man, you can really succumb to your own, you know, frustrations, or find patterns that are outdated, or put yourself in limited forms of self-expression. Or, if you're too inflexible around others, this can leave you prone to being humiliated or ridiculed, or, judged for your ideas. But ultimately, I feel that Leo Mercury really has us expressing what we really care about and what we actually feel. So ultimately, this could say that, as long as you really have content and love within yourself, you should find minimal disagreements with others. But, you know, be on the lookout for a lot of people this week just talking their shit and trying to show their ass, to get attention for the things going on inside of themselves. And, let me just say, this week, show love and speak love. And it's going to be a beautiful week, guys. And speaking of love, let's talk about love. So Venus is going through some action this week, and she is changing signs, guys. And oh my goodness, I'm so grateful that Venus exists and that she's changing signs. I'm sure she's happy about it too, guys. So Venus has been going through Virgo for the last couple weeks, and while that's great, pardon me, for Mercury, that's more difficult for Venus, because she shows us joy and how to connect with each other. So this just means that we've been locked in. We've been really focused, really specific on what it is that we want, or working really hard on ourselves. And that's a really good thing. You can't complain about, but the negative parts of this transit just says it's been more difficult to appreciate life and others in the world for what it is, because it seems to be part of a process. Everything seems to be procedural, and like we need to move it forward and improve it systematically as well. So, I will just say that this probably has been really great for a lot of people's habits on some level, and, you know, increased our self-care and the devotional acts of service that we give to ourselves and other people. But, it can grind our gears, man, and make it harder for us to appreciate and love stuff. So the beautiful thing is it's over. So today, you see Venus at 28, and this is Tuesday, by the way, on the 27th. So, Venus is making an opposition to Neptune. So I also feel like that this is intensely sensual, intensely romantic. And, I really wish I could draw the lines on the chart, but just imagine, or if you're watching it, you should be able to see what I'm saying. While Venus and Neptune are square, Mars has really been square, both of them. And we're going to talk more about that little T square we got going on. So I will just say that there's a lot of creative energy in this chart in this week that we got going on, guys. And this is really going to ask us to connect our energy with something that we can express, a way to act, a way to, generate, dance with the universe, and put our energy into something and devote our focus to something that helps us transcend the moment. So For everybody who's got their artistic talents and skills, you may kind of find that your want to express yourself is really at a heightened degree. And I think that Venus and Neptune in the terms of relationships, this says a lot about, transcending ourself or merging with the others. So this could talk about, deep, passionate romance that's, very blended and mystical, or it could even talk about hyperinflated standards. And this could play out with you or a partner or both. So again, guys, let me just say, first of all, don't let perfect be the enemy of good, and be aware of having expectations that are entirely too fucking high and trying to get, blood from a fucking stone or trying to, wish and will something that probably doesn't even want to be in the first place. So, I'm just saying to be hopeful, be loving, try not to be naive or delusional this week when it comes to Venus in Virgo opposite Neptune. But what is cool is that on Thursday, oh yeah, Venus moves. And Venus goes from her fall back home. So mama's home and we're excited because we missed her and we need her. So Venus and Libra, that's beautiful, guys. So just know it's going to be a Venus Libra week basically after Wednesday. And when Venus is home, just understand that the natural qualities of this planet are going to be heightened and expressed more naturally, okay? Ooh, that's beautiful. So what's that mean? That means life is about to get way more beautiful, guys. More beautiful than it already is. And this should just promote a sense of genuine well-being, general equanimity, peace, connectedness with the world. Like, damn, everything is beautiful. And let me just say this, guys. Venus has two homes because she's balling like that. Taurus is the feminine home of Venus, and Libra is the masculine home of Venus. Pardon me. So this would suggest that Venus and Libra would also give us a desire to express our beauty or want to externalize it in some way, shape, or form. So Venus and Libra would speak to romance naturally and wanting to have love or social connections within our life. But let me double down and say romance, to be partnered with somebody, to find, our connection, our mirror in somebody else. And this also talks about symmetry. Oh my God, I fucked that word up like 10 times in a reading earlier, but I just did it again. Symmetry. Symmetry is the word when things are balanced on both sides. And balance by definition, guys, that's equal forces in opposite directions. So calibration into organized things and beyond the aesthetic nature of life and how much more appealing this is going to start to become, there is something to say about just general sense of balance and equilibrium. There's multiple areas of life, guys, and they all matter. Some may matter more than others depending on what cycle you are, but I'm just saying, you have a social life and a personal life and a career life, a home life. You've got your spiritual life, your financial life, uh, you know, your hobby life, all those different things, your creative life, etc. So I think that among all the beautiful, loving, sensual, classy things Libra Venus is going to bring, it is going to ask us, is there anything in our life that really needs attention or stability or that we feel disconnected from, or in other words, not at peace with? So I wish you all profound fucking peace. Like, take a minute to receive that. And maybe we can move this peace from our hearts into the entire world. Venus loves Libra, guys. And this transit will promote honesty and integrity within our actions and our communication with others too. So that's really beautiful that if we keep it straight up with ourselves and keep it honest with others, we are going to have a very clean conscience and generally not worry about too much. So that's beautiful. And in other words, the arts are really going to be calling to a lot of people, whether that's for you to create these or just to indulge in them or both. But you'll see that becoming a prominent theme this week that, you know, beauty, style, aesthetics. That's really going to be important for us moving forward. So make it pretty, make it sound nice, make it look good. Don't let the devil be in the details. Don't let perfect be the enemy of good. But, can we put some flair on it? Can we get some style points? Yes, we certainly can. So let's talk about these other planets, okay, guys? We've got Mars going into the sign of Cancer next week. So I will just say, guys, all week we have Mars in Gemini. Mars starts at 25 and it ends at 29. And that's Tuesday to Tuesday, the 27th to September 3rd. So Mars it's our masculine energy, and Venus more reflects the feminine. So Mars pushes our energy forward, helps us express what? Damn near anything, express ourselves. But I will just say the sign placement of Mars in transit is going to show generally the way our energy unfolds and manifests and where our actions are going to be taken towards and where we have to remove certain things from our lives in order to become more direct and intentional and deliberate. So Mars is in Gemini, and this is kind of funny because this is a mutable sign. It's a dual sign. And that talks about a sign that's capable of great change and adaptation, but also with this being dual, the sign of the twins, Gemini, this really talks about variety and duplicity and, multiplicity beyond two things, multiple things, and being able to see, you know, variety. And I think the word is vicissitude. I'm not even sure if that's really what it means, but I'm literally about to Google that. You may have a real interest to learn more words. Vicissitude is a change of circumstances, typically one that is unwelcome or unpleasant. I don't know if that's exactly what I meant, but did we just learn a word? I think I just did. How did I fucking come up with this word? I mean, I didn't. I pulled it from somewhere, but that's weird. I might be going off the charts right now, y'all, but vicissitude by Oxford says a change of circumstance or fortune, typically one that is unwelcome or unpleasant. Or it could say, it doesn't necessarily have to say that. It says typically. So this could also talk about the alternation between opposite or contrasting things. I think that word was perfect, actually, and it came through me intuitively. I love that shit, man. All right, but in any regard, guys, variety is the spice of life, and Mars and Gemini is gonna want you to live it right. So it may be hard to get caught up and stuck on one thing right now, and you may want to really widen your lens at this time. And I will say Mars has been in Gemini, guys, for damn near, no, more than a month. Oh my goodness. Like maybe a month and a week. So yeah, damn near 6 weeks of Mars in Gemini, guys. Are we done with it yet? Oh my God, are we tired of it? Because on one note, this is really a transit has excited our curiosities, stimulated our learning and our interaction with the world. But on the other note, this does make us way more involved and way faster in the way that we go about our lives. So I've noticed that like feelings of anxiety or nervousness have kind of surfaced for me during this transit, and I've had to really learn how to slow myself down and catch my breath and not fucking rush around in the places that I go. So I don't know if you guys can relate to that as well, but we got one more week of Mars Cancer or Mars Gemini, and then we go to Mars Cancer, guys. And the funny thing about Mars and Cancer, which I will show you, this is the end of the week, and I'm just going to move forward a little bit. Mars is going to be in Cancer for a long time. It'll blaze through there in October. But then once we get Mars in Leo, Mars will go retrograde very fast. And then it will really spend a long time in Cancer, guys. I'm talking like we have a short little stint of Mars and Leo, from like October to December. And then we're going to have Mars in Cancer all the way until like mid-April of next year, guys. So while Mars spent about 6 weeks in Gemini, it's going to spend damn near 6 months in Cancer. So get ready and get excited for Mars in Cancer because me personally, I have Mars in Cancer. So I'm really excited. It's going to feel like home for me. But I know when Mars has that extended retrograde cycle, it really gives us an opportunity to, work with our energy levels on a more deeper level. Mars doesn't necessarily like to be in Cancer. This is debilitated. So I will just say that from for contrast, we're going to go from a more intellectual orientation to an emotional orientation, air to water. Okay? And that's just going to add our focus and our passion to things of the heart and the home and where our, connection is. So this could be profound acceleration of purpose or even resolution of emotional issues or, you know, help us unify our family dynamics or come closer to our loved ones. But at the same time, Mars does add certain conflicts to wherever it shows up, you know. So we may kind of just find in the months to come, emotional volatility, emotional unrest, irritation with our loved ones. And that's possible, but I will just say to take a step back beyond the physical, we have to think about the energetic and how this would manifest. Mars in Cancer really talks about putting our heart into the action, or being led by our emotional desire. So it's just important that we honor our emotions and accept our desires and, learn how to redirect our energy whenever, we have strong or negative emotions that don't really support the goal or, you know, other people too. And in addition, finding different ways to redirect energy when you get frustrated or find your plans not working out can be really great because, the high amount of volatility within the emotions can lead to explosions or eruptions or conflicts when none need to happen. So, I will just say that Mars in Cancer to me is a beautiful placement and it really will help us understand what our heart desires. But we have to take the time to listen and truly feel our feelings and pay attention to the patterns that we find ourselves in and question, whether these patterns really do engender safety or they give us complacency. Okay. And Mars and Cancer to me, beyond that, kind of feels like opening the heart. But let's take a step back, guys, because I'm getting ahead of myself. We're not even going to have Mars and Cancer this week. This week is all Mars in Gemini. And what I really want to show y'all is that this whole week, Mars is going to be applying square to Neptune. So on the Tuesday chart, the first Tuesday chart, you can see Mars at 25 is already moving square. But, when we end at 29, it's going to be in basically still square Neptune, which is retrograde, moving around the 29th to 28th degree. Ooh, so what's that really mean, guys? Mars and Neptune coming together. This is the theme of the entire week. So I'm glad to kind of like leave it in layers of increasing complexity, but also know that this cloud really covers the week. Okay. So Mars in Gemini, square Neptune in Pisces really gives us this mystical aura for the week and a desire to transcend. Okay. And the real thing my heart wants to say to everybody is that this is a good week to be gentle on yourself because this could talk about inflated passion or sense of purpose and desire, and that again would increase the standards and inflate our expectations, which on some level is ennobling, I should say, but on other levels it could be very disillusioning because we could see ourselves as so far from the dream and from the image that we feel like we're defeated before we get started or feel like something's wrong with us or something's wrong with the world. So, Mars and Neptune together really does inspire compassionate action or, the want to imagine or transcend or escape. So, creative endeavors are definitely encouraged this week, guys, because of this deep sensitivity and emotional connection that we're going to have to life. We will want to have some healthy activities that can help us step beyond ourselves, whether that is painting a picture or dancing or making some music or watching a movie. This can be really helpful for us to not, lose ourselves in this hypersensitivity that we got going on. And on one note, that this will kind of push us towards more spiritual or devotional actions. This will prompt a lot of us to want to spend a lot of time by ourselves because of the way that we feel so connected with everything and, either so exposed and vulnerable or even confused and withdrawn. It's good to be able to really find that equilibrium within ourselves as well, and I will just say on some level, man, this is that desire to return, a desire to escape life sometimes. So it's important to be committed to your life and remember that this is a gift. And no matter how heavy your emotions get, no matter how strong you start to feel, you can generally get a lot of the work done, even if you feel like trash. I will say with this one, guys, it's important not to overexert yourself or exhaust yourself if you really aren't feeling it, because, this really can increase our sensitivity to pollutants, irritants, just the frustration of life in general, guys. I hope that this is making sense on some level, and I'm trying to present this as neutrally as possible, or even polarize it so there can be perspective on both ends. But really, you're just gonna say that, you know, the transpersonal waters of Neptune are really going to be influencing our energy this week in the way that we act and the way that we maneuver throughout this world. So, you know, pretend like this week we were really treading through the waves in the ocean, or like, waves in a pond or a lake. You ever had that dream where you're like moving in slow motion? That's kind of how water feels, basically. So I really think above everything else, this Mars Neptune has given us an ability to really have a blended, transcended view of our life. And it's going to be a very beautiful thing in a really synchronistic, serendipitous time where we can really reflect ourselves back to the all at every moment during this week. And if you have some form of daily spiritual practice, I believe that this Mars Neptune is really going to, deepen your connection with it and all of life. So I'm pretty jazzed about it, guys. I don't got too much else to say besides, you know, everything in moderation. When it comes to Jupiter, just know that Jupiter is the one. And, Jupiter and Saturn are squaring off. They're fighting. They're like, my dad can beat up your dad. And he's like, well, my dad's a construction worker. And his other guy's like, well, my dad's Randy Orton. And he'll fucking 619 you or whatever the fuck. That's not Randy Orton. That's Rey Mysterio. But he said, well, my dad's John Cena and he can't see you. So Jupiter and Saturn are fighting right now, guys. And Jupiter is the king of the gods. Jupiter expands and Saturn contracts. Saturn is the king of the Titans. So Father Time and Mr. Lightning Bolt are just like pissed at each other. What the fuck? Isn't that how it goes in the myths? But anyway, Jupiter governs our growth, guys, how we expand in life. And this colors wherever it falls with a generalized sense of optimism and luck and well-being. Jupiter's debilitated, y'all. So I'm excited for Jupiter Cancer personally, but I really have been loving Jupiter Gemini lately in the lessons that it brings. And what I've been noticing is that, Jupiter Gemini also improves our communication. And mind you guys, Gemini is ruled by Mercury. And that's kind of why this has been a little bit more interesting slash challenging for us, is that on a deep spiritual level, we are growing through the left brain, the mercurial impulse and elements, meaning heightened curiosity, a need to explore, a need to philosophize, if that even is a word, to put our ideas into filing cabinets and really clean off the lens so we can gain higher perspective. So I will just say, guys, Jupiter and Gemini asks a million questions and it never stops wondering. And this can be the true definition of overthinking or getting on your own goddamn nerves too. So it's important to ask questions, but it's equally important to have faith and trust in yourself and your own thought patterns. Okay. And I really feel like Jupiter and Gemini, it can provide profound insights if we really do follow our interests in people and ideas and gaining new information and, studying from our teachers that inspire us. But on one note, I think it really asks us to cultivate a little bit of stillness because it amplifies our ideas, it amplifies our perception as well. So being able to differentiate the signal from the noise, that's vitally important, guys. And by spending even 10 minutes a day in meditation, you can really increase your mental occupation and clarity within your own space too. Okay. Very great to understand the difference between what you're sending and what you're receiving, because Jupiter in Gemini also talks about spirit conversation and divination and how we connect to the other side, and whether our impulses are coming from our self, our monkey mind, our higher self, or even, spirit guides, our intuition. So this is a really good time to really focus on your psychic development in some form or shape. And let me talk about Saturn and Pisces for a second, then we can talk about the square and how that's kind of interacting, guys. Saturn is in Pisces, and this planet takes about 2.5 years to change signs, while Jupiter takes about 1 year to change signs. So that basically says that Saturn's orbit is over twice as long as Jupiter's. And this planet moves at a very slow rate, and it really governs the limitations of life and therefore the boundaries that we can even build upon, but they set the structure of our foundation in our world, okay? So Saturn in some way conforms and sets up paradigms. So this indicates the ways our society really cooperates and how we, fit that mold as a people. And, the structures that need to be refined and rebuilt and, organized. And on a more esoteric level, guys, Saturn gives us a chance to master something. And while Jupiter may expand and fill up and add abundance to something, Saturn is going to really limit and make things more scarce or make us work harder in this array, because we are learning how to grow. And in some level, we're really just learning, period. So the beautiful thing here, guys, is that Jupiter is the ruling planet of Pisces. So there is a little bit of lift coming from Jupiter Gemini on some level, where Saturn in Pisces wants us to master the spiritual world. And everybody connects to the spirit world in a different way, even though spirit is, my best attempt to describe the universal. So this asks us on some level to put to the test the validity of our spiritual practices. I'm not here to tell you what to believe other than to practice it, whatever it is. Practice it so you can actually see if it's working right now. Put it to the test. Saturn in Pisces wants us to believe, guys. Like I said, I don't know what to tell you to believe in, because I'm not here to be dogmatic, basically, but I am here to say that, when it comes to your life, your aspirations, your hopes, if you don't believe, you know, generally the follow through is going to be difficult when it comes to your goals. Or if you believe against yourself, think about it this way, guys. You know how we talk about believing in yourself. What about believing against yourself? If you believe against yourself, all your actions and attempts to succeed will be met with self-sabotage, because your belief creates your reality. Your belief adjusts paradigms, and paradigms condition your thoughts, which influence your feelings and therefore actions. Okay, guys. So it's always worth it, now more than ever, but even before Saturn started Pisces, I was telling y'all, it's like, this is going to be prime time to examine our paradigms. And even where the fuck did they come from? Down to the thoughts we think, even the voices we don't like to listen to. Like, where does that voice come from? Is that my voice? Or, where did I learn how to talk this way? Does this help me? What does my voice say? What do I want to do? And I can't emphasize this enough, guys, because there's a need to believe in ourselves. Believe in yourself. Do not believe against yourself. It's likely that you are better than you think you are, or that you have more power than you think you do, or that you have more potential than you realize. So, try not to limit yourself or box yourself in, or, on one level, I'm not encouraging anybody to be naive or irresponsible or reckless, but I'm just saying that, we can find ourselves suffering sometimes by being too, rigid and untrusting in the greater good or the higher powers or the universe itself. And, you know, it's easy to get wrapped up in the past and the problems and the disappointments that it brings. But if we can realize that we're here right now and we have that infinite optionality of the moment, we can really see how blessed we are and how much life has given to us. And I'm telling you guys, even if you're at your worst, like negative 10 out of 10, like beyond a 0 out of 10, if you can just find it in your heart and mind to help somebody that day, I promise you're going to feel a lot better. Because Pisces right here indicates the universe, the interconnectedness of everything. So being able to nurture and honor that connection is everything. And some days, I'd say every day, it really looks like self-care, but there may be days where that self-care looks like shutting yourself off from the world or, floating in your own ocean. And some days it may look like inspired acts of devotion. But either way it goes, guys, this tells us to master our empathy and master our emotions and really understand that we can find solace within ourselves, within our imaginations, within our minds, that no matter where we are connected to the divine. And that's the gift that Saturn Pisces brings. But I will just say, with Saturn square not Neptune, Saturn square Jupiter, or you could really call it Jupiter square Jupiter square Saturn. We got this. Jupiter square Saturn. And I say it that way because Jupiter is the inner planet. It's the interior planet moving fastest. So Jupiter square Saturn, in my opinion, is all about consolidation. But the reason I state this claim is that it's bringing together the extremes of both planets. In other words, expansion plus contraction. So a generalized feeling of something being kind of wrong is kind of coming with this one, where we know we need to grow on some level and cut back in others. So that's really the simple and easiest way to understand this, is that, by reorganizing your life based on priorities, you'll find things falling into place a little more naturally and effortlessly this week. And you may find ways that you have overextended yourself or need to cut back or be more discriminate or, responsible. And also you may find parts of your life that really you need to be rolling up your sleeves and betting more in and putting more effort and intention into, okay? Taking more risks. So it's just about consolidated, structured growth and calculated risk, okay? That's really what we're going to be really focusing on this week still. And I'm going to move it forward, guys, and show you that, as Jupiter moves forward, it does kind of separate from the square with Saturn. But, but what, Mark? What? Jupiter will go retrograde in October. And that's right around the time that Saturn, is about to station. So while we are going to have this break from the square and this consolidation tension is going to release, guys, we are starting 2025 in the Jupiter Saturn square still. And this energy will kind of linger around. And after Jupiter goes direct, because you can see this is like fast forward to February of next year. Jupiter and Saturn broke the square, but Saturn's way ahead. So then with Jupiter being a faster planet and going direct, you'll see Jupiter and Saturn square off like pretty much as soon as Saturn gets into Aries. And that's going to be in May of next year, guys. So pretty exciting. Pretty exciting. So what I mean, I'm bringing it all the way back to August. Oh my goodness. What that basically means, guys, is that, this year and a great portion of 2025 is about adopting the growth mindset. And if you can really make peace with this and put this in your experience willfully and consciously, guys, I'm telling you, you are going to really surprise yourself, not only by the merits of your own efforts, but the goodness of the universe. By being accepting of growth, by being willing to adapt and, account for yourself, be more responsible, life is really going to present you with so much opportunity and so many blessings, and auspicious people will come into your life and auspicious circumstances, and just, you'll find yourself being more lucky the more responsible you are moving forward too. So that's something to look forward to, guys, is that just by, taking life serious enough to assess where our flaws or inefficiencies or ineptitudes could be is really going to lead us towards inspired growth and, universal support. So really take that hat on and wear it on for size and see what it does for you. So I got about 2 more things to share with you guys, and then I'm going to sign off. I've enjoyed this, and I hope you enjoyed it too, guys. Really, the only thing that I want to bring to your note is Pluto in Aquarius, is that Pluto is retrograde. So this week we are going to see some interesting action with, Pluto and Uranus. And this is ironically the same day as the new moon. So on Monday, the 2nd of September, we are going to have Pluto in its retrograde cycle, finally making its way out of Aquarius, moving into Capricorn for probably the last time in your entire life, jabroni. Unless you want to live past 200 something years old, you're probably not going to see this transit ever again. And Pluto Capricorn really is, taking its last sweep through this transition. And this really talks about the death of the old and the refinement of the structures of our lives. And, Pluto and Capricorn also does expose systemic corruption or systemic oppression. And for 20 years, we are going to have Pluto in Aquarius, guys. So I will just say that time can only tell what happens in this 20 years. And often it really is time that's going to reveal it. And what I mean by that is not only are we going to see tremendous shifts in the 20 years, when those kids born in the 20 years grow up and assume positions of power and control, we really are going to see the Pluto Aquarius energy flourish and manifest to its highest potentials. But I would just say, as a reflection of our times, guys, Pluto in Aquarius talks about our global ecosystem and the technology that's accelerating at a rapid rate, the artificial intelligence and the labor automation that we're finding, and also the internet. That's what I mean by globalization, is that we exchange information at a more rapid rate than ever before. So this interconnectedness is accelerating, and it does promote a world without secrets, where privacy of our data is going to be really important. And, a lot of us may feel surveilled by living in this world, but ultimately, this should promote a more positive and free world, in the sense that we can keep each other more accountable and we can be more forthright and honest. And, you know, since this is 20 years in the future, guys, I will just say that there's so much to talk about, and we will talk about it for a long time. But in my perspective, really one of the central themes of Pluto and Aquarius is the fact that technology is somewhat an extension of the mind, and therefore our consciousness can evolve as a result of having more instruments and machinery and, computation power too. So that says Nvidia's stock is probably going to go up, and so is Apple and Intel and AMD and SMCI, and those tech stocks are going to print, y'all. I'm just letting you know. So in other words, you know resistance is how we grow. So are we moving towards idiocracy? We might just. And if you've never seen the movie Idiocracy, watch that movie. And yeah, it'll all make too much sense. And basically what I mean about that is that, if we, through our own intellect and implementation of machinery, reduce our necessity to think, will we lose our capacity to think? It's a good question. I think it's arguable that some of us have already lost it as a result of the convenience we have today. So if you think about that shit 20 years from the future, some people are about to be stupid. I don't even like to be too rude about it, but a mind that can't think for itself is basically useless. And a caged bird, a bird that's been caged its whole life may even forget that it can fly or be highly uncomfortable doing it. Okay. And I know that a lot of little kids nowadays even get AI to do their homework. So it's like, on one note, and I know they used to say this generations ago when the calculator was being a thing. They're like, oh my God, you're going to ruin your life because now you're going to have the computer do everything for you. And it's like, we've actually become a lot more efficient with calculators. But I know there are some circumstances where it's like people don't even know the fundamentals of it because they've assumed that they could use it. So it's like, I will just say, internet revolution, tech revolution, it's really here, guys. But as far as Pluto and Capricorn kind of taking this back into the present week, Pluto Capricorn is really going to have us uncovering the hidden corruption in our structures. Whether this is like a fundamental health issue or habitual uh, misalignment that we need to really integrate, or even, paradigms and perceptions that need adjusted. Pluto and Capricorn is really going to help us cleanse and, overcome the bullshit that we set our lives upon. So I think that's really cool, guys, because Pluto really empowers and transforms. And what it's going to transform is our sense of sovereignty and authority, and that's Capricorn. But in addition to this, guys, on the same day, we got Uranus in Taurus going retrograde too. And Uranus is a planet of great change and upheaval. This planet never conforms. And consequently, guys, Uranus rules Aquarius and technology and, inspired thought. So you should kind of see how, the 20 years of Uranus, or I'm sorry, Uranus ruling Pluto is going to really change our world and, how we interact with each other and what technologies we build. But Uranus, above all that, guys, it does reflect who we are on the most personal and unique level beyond the conditions and limitations and inhibitions of the world or ourselves or the society. So Uranus in retrograde really is going to talk about a cycle. And this lasts for months, guys, by the way, because these are outer planets. Uranus retrograde is really going to start in motion this chapter of personal revolution. Okay. And beyond, identity changes. And by the way, Uranus is going to be retrograde till like February of next year. So it's a recycling of the old and, breaking out of outmoded forms of self-expression or, ways we relate to ourselves or the community. It's going to ask us just to break out the box and to be free and ask ourselves, is there any way that we are really holding ourselves back or not being authentic? And another thing that Uranus can really talk about is our energy levels. So it is just really important that we focus on our health and our stability and, maintain a healthy heart. So I'm not kidding, guys. It'd be wise to make sure you keep your stress levels down and make sure you meditate on the daily for that same reason. Because if you want to keep your stress down, we don't meditate every day. You're going to have to make that make sense with yourself. Uranus is a very powerful energy, guys, and it is really the planet that inspires us all to make change. And with that being said, I encourage you to find Uranus in your chart and really see where it is, because you have inner brilliance, you have uniqueness, and this adds significance to all of life. And when you find Uranus in the chart, it is going to show how your higher consciousness is really sought. So with that being said, it's very important that you know yourself so you can continue to love yourself and pour that energy into the rest of the world. I love you, Fire Family. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Hope this helped. Hope you enjoyed it. Blessed be, blessed we. I will see you guys next time. Bye for now.